As a Gen Zer, we have prepared for things like this throughout our life. As young people, this is something that we are prepared for. But when it actually happens, there's nothing but nerves, fear, anxiety, so on and so forth. You're going to hear from a gentleman now who's kind of, two gentlemen that are the reason why I was actually able to maintain my cool and make sure that our students were taken care of. We had 80 plus students, staff, and volunteers in the student union building as this was all happening. And so, as we go along and we're still shaken up, we've had to get into, logistics mode. After the student union building evacuation, we had to make sure students had their property, their laptops, their backpacks back. And so, you know, everything during that moment was a complete blur. We did hear indiscernible noises throughout the entire time that we were being locked down in our rooms. As we were getting more and more information from our UNLV venue coordinator about whether or not SWAT was going around and doing their rounds in the student union building and so on and so forth. As we evacuated, myself and many other of our students saw a dead body as we were getting evacuated from the student union building across over to University Garden, where the Chipotle is at and Chiba Hut and so on.
Is your message enough is enough?
Our message is enough is enough, and Rise Nevada will be leading the charge with so many community partners on ensuring that this doesn't happen again. And we are tired of being paid lip service. The thoughts and prayers cycle is never ending, and yet it's not enough to address what we have to deal with here in this state as young people and across the country as well.
My last question for you, what are those tangible things that you can do to actually make a change? Because you just said lip service, right? So what are the next steps to actually ensure that something is done?
The irony of us even having a training on issue advocacy was the whole point of it. That is our solution. During our training, you'll hear from our students that one of the most important things is sharing our stories to ensure that they make noise and enough action to prioritize the interest that they are passionate about. We weren't anticipating for this to be disrupted by a mass shooting, another one. Nobody's talking about the one, not that nobody's talking about it, but on 12/1 there was another shooting with 5 homeless people being victimized. And then, in North Las Vegas, we had another shooting right after this shooting. So, coming at it from a multifaceted approach of getting us out of this culture of violence is the most important part of our work. And enough is enough also means making sure that I am not just the only one doing all of this at 24. There are a hell of a lot of young people that were there at that training that are ready to take action, meet with our legislators, and put our thumb on the scale when it comes to ending this problem.
When you say multifaceted approach, just give us context for something practical here. Are you looking at the next Nevada legislators for action there? Or are you looking to speak to Governor Lombardo? Or are you looking to speak to Sheriff McMahon? What practical thing are you looking to rubber meets road to on behalf of this group? What's the objective? What is this multifaceted?
Identifying what went right and what also went wrong. I actually am very pleased with the LVMPD's response to evacuating us in such a proficient and functional way. The coordinate, once the indiscernible noises started becoming much more coordinated, there was a level of comfort in knowing that the LVMPD responded in such a great way. But also, too, we'd like to know more about how this individual was able to get on campus, where are the weaknesses there on him being able to get on campus with that firearm, and working with legislators to make sure that this type of thing doesn't happen. We have relationships with the legislature. I'm glad that there's a presence here out of Assemblyman Max Carter, who's also been a victim of gun violence. We want to tackle this in so many different ways than just one. And so praise to LVMPD. I think that their response and also, too, the broader community support infrastructure for students and survivors of this incident has gotten a lot better since 1 October. So let's give people the praise that they deserve. Let's give our community the praise that it deserves. And let's figure out where these detriments are that we have to fix.
So the issue isn't just guns. What are other issues that you look to address to stop this kind of violence?
One of the people that I've been meeting, just violence, in terms of violence in general. We're working right now with Assemblywoman Claire Thomas on restorative justice. Getting students to understand at a basic level, all the way down there, to understand what restorative justice means, being arbiters, understanding conflict resolution and conflict management, building beyond way more than just this past week. Going at the root of these problems and figuring out what we can do to mitigate these issues. That doesn't necessarily, we have so many different partners that are in the gun violence prevention space that are going to be partnering with us, and we're looking forward to working with them. But we're also looking forward to seeing where the mental health apparatus in the state is at. We're looking forward to working with the NSHE regents on broadening security for our students. We fight for college affordability, students' basic needs, and mobilizing voters. One of their basic needs is safety and security on campus as they're getting an education. So, again, as broad as we can be, we're going to be specific and way more surgical going into 2024 with our call to action.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give us 1 second to gather everybody together.
So folks, in between also, as this is going on, we do have our set speakers. In between, I'll introduce, if that helps, all of you folks. And so, yeah.
Oh, no. I don't know about that, man.
I was like, I want to hide. All the behind the scenes stuff, like the stage.
Okay. And you folks are going to let me know when we're good? Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Solomon. I'm the State Director of Rise Nevada. We are an educational issue advocacy organization that trains political students to fight for college affordability, students' basic needs on campus, as well as mobilizing student voters. Last week, Wednesday, from 10 to 2, what we intended to have was a fun, engaging training to train 80-plus students, volunteers, along with our staff, on the intricacies of organizing and issue advocacy. It was a political organizing training. Halfway through, it was disrupted by a mass shooting by the individual that has now been proclaimed dead by the police, and we've had enough of this. What we intended to do was ensure that college students and youth were prioritized in everything that they needed, all of the resources they needed to become players in this state, to put the thumb on the scale for policy, when it comes to issues that they are passionate about. And throughout all of this, we're still shaking up. Obviously, we've had to work on logistics since that training, but enough is enough. The reason why we do focus on this work is because as youth and as students, we think that we get paid too much lip service. Gen Z is the generation that has had their parents struggle through the recession and on the verge of adulthood had to deal with the pandemic, all while dealing with a very, very broadened culture of violence. We are told that we are not experienced enough to be at the table when it comes to decision making. We are told that we're not wise enough about the issues that are in front of us. We're told that we are a Gen Z TikTok trend culture. But I think, as I've mentioned, we're experienced enough. And with the students that we have behind me who were there, who can share their stories, they will let you know that we are prepared to take action in this state. One of the people that I want to introduce who was there is a veteran. He's also a UNLV student. His name is Kane. It was because of his composure and because of his experience in combat that I felt composed throughout the entire training. And he and my national director stood right there at the door to make sure that nobody could get in, as we heard indiscernible noises and banging throughout the entire training and during the lockdown period. So Hunter, if you could please come and speak.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, everyone. My name is Hunter Kane, and as he said, I am a proud Army veteran and proud UNLV student who's supposed to be graduating next week, actually. You know, I've always been told that one of the first things you have to do to solve a problem is admit that there is a problem. We are living in a culture of violence. You know, too often we're looking, for those aggressive answers, those violent answers, and it's not something that's inherited, it's something that's taught. I've spent the better part of a decade in the Army serving overseas in combat zones, and never once have I thought that I would have to use the same experiences here in the college setting. It's a little bit disturbing. So I think one of the things that everybody keeps asking is, what can we do? So this is a call to action. And one of the things that I would love to do is, personally, I will be running for public office in 2024. I'll let you guys know what it is here pretty soon, hopefully. At the same time, what I wanted the call of action to do is to challenge every student to run for public office. What can we do? We can allow the older generations to say thank you, but we got it from here. Obviously, you can't solve the problems. We can. We know what we can do. So I want to challenge everyone. His email, Christians, is christians@risefree.org. Literally send him a quick text, send him a quick email, and just say, I will run. Or just say, I will, support a campaign, or I plan to vote. And one of the things that I want to be able to do is we will find ways to help you. We will get out there with you to teach you how to run for office. We will help support campaigns and do everything possible, because obviously our current leaders are the ones who can't do it right now. So if anything, I want everyone to remember, especially if you're hearing my voice right now, what is that old saying? The people's voice, power to the people. It's one of those easy, simple things. And I thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Another individual that was there that volunteered to help us out is chair of the Nevada Forward Party, Cesar Marquez.
Hi everyone, my name's Cesar Marquez. I'm the chair of the Nevada Forward Party, and I also do some other advocate work for ballot question number 3 for open primaries and ranked choice voting. And I'm not a student at UNLV. I actually don't even live in Vegas. I live up in Sparks. I was here to support my good friend Chris Salomon and the great work that he's doing. And so I, along with Brendan Moody and other of our volunteers, we were there to support. And we witnessed something that no person should ever, have to go through. And, to me, this just validates why the work that Chris is doing, the work that we're doing is so important. Because unless we change the system, unless we introduce, healthier competition so that our legislators are able to collaborate and get things done, then, none of these things will get done, right? And you can talk about gun reform, mental health, the crisis of young boys and men, or any of these issues. But unless we change the system and how we elect our legislators, the outcomes are going to keep being the same. So, I want to give a huge shout out also to Chris and Hunter, as he said, and Brandon Moody, some of the veterans that were there, because like Chris, they gave me the confidence and the composure to be able to look at these students and tell them that it's going to be okay, and actually believe it. And so I also want to give a huge shout out to the Metro Police, the SWAT team, everybody that did everything possible to get us there safely. We have a huge amount of gratitude to them and everybody that worked to get us out. Thank you.
We also have several students who attended our training that are here with us, and I definitely would love for them to share their experiences with you. Starting up first, let's have Ms. Zena Haji.
My name is Zena Haji, and I'm a student at UNLV. I'm a political science student, and I'm only 21 years old. We always hear the word just in case, to be prepared of the words just in case. I remember doing active shooter drills in high school because of the words just in case. Putting desks on doors and windows. These objects that were meant for writing, for students to write on, were used as barricades. And I remember the giggles and whispers during these drills because we never thought that we would ever need these skills or processes or any of these drills to be able to get through anything. Students all over the nation hear the statement all the time of just in case. And we witness students our own age or younger speak about tragedies that they should have never endured. And while our hearts went out to them, we always hoped that this would be the last one. You always hope that this will never happen again, or to you, or in your city. Shootings affect everyone, and because we all have to be prepared for just in case. Students shouldn't have come out of situations like this hearing, oh, wow, you handled that very well, or good job on taking charge. The only time we should be hearing that is when we are in our classroom competitions, or when we're trying to become leaders in our safe spaces, or be doing public speaking as of now. Watching the news growing up and seeing the Parkland shooting, and I never thought we would have to repeat it year after year after year. Uvalde was just a reminder. In a month from now, this news will be buried. So this is my call to our government, federal and state. Students have suffered too long. We have seen a news story on a school shooting, praying that it won't happen to us, living the fear of hearing shots, and then going back to normal, hearing about it again or worse. And last Wednesday was our worst. It was our worst scenario, and we should have been able to focus on finals, to focus on the next semester. And personally, I'm scared of the next semester. And the only reason I should have been nervous about next semester is if I'm going to have hard classes, or if I'm going to even have any classes at all, instead of worrying about being able to be on campus, or to live on campus, or to be able to go to the student union and host any events. And we shouldn't be worried about any of that. So this is my call to assembly people and council people, representatives of the state, senators of the state, and to Congress. I urge you to listen. We are tired of debate. We are exhausted from waiting on the edge of our seat for you to do something. And we want to move on when it is not benefiting you anymore, when its action is finally completed, when legislation is finally done. We are tired of experiencing these tragedies. We are your constituents. Hear our voices. Those who feel ready to do something about it, fight for it, and let your voices be heard. Lobby with anti-gun groups. Go to political events. Send your voices through emails and calls to your representative. Vote even if it feels hopeless. Because right now my generation feels hopeless with voting. And that we should trust our government. We should be able to trust our safety in our government's hands. And the fact that we had to even endure any of that is completely insane. This is your right to vote. Join us as we call to action. Give people a place for their voices to be heard. We have heard this speech over and over again by different voices and different people. So let's make sure these thoughts and prayers are turned into action and legislation. Thank you.
Woo! Woo!
Millan, Gledhill.
Hello, My name is Millan. My friends call me Mac. I'm a political science and film student at UNLV. I'll try to keep my remarks brief. I don't want to speak too much about my experience in that room in the student union because it's a little too early, a little too soon. All I will say is that I will be forever haunted by the decision that I had to make of whether to tell my parents goodbye, and I will forever be haunted by the image of blood on concrete. Secondly, I would like to say that I'm here not as a representative of any of my employers or organizations that I'm a member of. I'm here speaking today as a student and as a Nevadan. I would like to address the young people of Southern Nevada and of our entire state of Nevada. One of my favorite quotes is by Shirley Chisholm, and she says, "If they won't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair." It's time that we stop asking for change, and it's time to start demanding it. It's time to ask ourselves what sacrifices we ourselves are willing to make this change possible. We are the leaders we have been waiting for. It's time for us to step up as students and as community members. Thank you.
If it wasn't for these folks, again, this training wouldn't have necessarily happened. We have political science students. We have students from such a multidisciplinary background in their studies right now, and this is one of the great things. But the president of the UNLV Political Science Club was also there with us, and his name is Mohit Pandey.
On the 6th, I woke up and looked forward to the Rise U training that I had talked to Chris about and had advertised to my club. I thought I could bring the UNLV Political Science Club to out, have us learn a few things about community organizing, head to my Spanish class, and call it a day. I didn't feel much when it happened. A mix of adrenaline and a focus on comforting those around me I had advertised this event to had consumed me in the moment. Alongside that, I texted my family and friends, wondering whether to say goodbye to them or to tell them it would all be all right. And that's when the squad escorted us out, and I asked, what next? I eventually got to my car and shakily drove home. When I got to bed, I didn't know when I was going to get out of that bed. I was flustered with the feelings of being safe or still feeling in danger, and my sister took me out to dinner. I looked around at the people around me, laughing and talking, and I questioned, should I be there? Should I be happy and be able to conversate, or should they be where I am? Shocked, shaking, and not able to get a word out. My friends talked to me the next day. I talked to them about finals, what break plans we had, and I figured out, should I be thinking about that, or should I still be in that room? What we should be thinking about is those things, finals, or what we're going to do over summer, or like Zena said, what we're going to have next semester. Not, how did I comfort those around me? What if the shooter had gone into the room we were in? Until today, I still feel like there's a part of me that's in that room. There's a part of all of us that's still in that room. I feel like the world is starting to move on. When I haven't moved an inch, we haven't moved an inch. When we send resources out to those affected, or push for legislation, or hold vigils, or talk to those around us, it's because we keep asking ourselves, what's next?
And lastly, we have, before we get into some of the community partners that we have Amanda Hansen, who is from the College of Hospitality that attended our training.
Hi. I'm not prepared like the other students. I don't know what to say. I was just on campus trying to survive. It was a lot, and the only thing I could think of was my mom in finals. How ridiculous is that you would think or care about finals in a situation like that? But I was with the RISE organization, and they literally took care of us from the begin to the end. They were a beautiful organization that I want to keep with in the next semester. It was a scary time. I'm glad that I survived, and I'm glad that I was with the RISE organization because they literally took care of us. I have nothing else to say. Thank you so much.
And finally, I'm so grateful for this gentleman's presence here. It means so much to me. As a former member of IBW 1245,
357.
no, me.
Oh, you are.
Yeah. I am proud to be in solidarity with Assemblyman Carter. The fact that he cares so much about the youth to be out here tonight speaks volumes, and we just appreciate everything that he's done, and for him to be here is great. So, Assemblyman Carter, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. So I'm Max Carter, Assembly District 12 up on Sunrise Mountain. I'm an East Sider through and through, born and raised on the east side of Las Vegas. And I had one of my constituents call me last Thursday, and I say constituent, he's a friend, a true friend. Emer Sapitas, back here, he was there with RISE, and he told me his story. And it took me back to a time in 2007 when my wife's bird shop was robbed up on Nellis. And she spent 15 minutes with a bullet in her shoulder under the desk in the neighboring upholstery shop, trying to convince the owners of that shop that their machetes did not match the guns that were in the neighboring shop. She spent 15 minutes with 9/11 on one thing, and I'm sad to say it was my best friend because my phone was off on the other side before the police got there, and she thought she was okay. 2 months later, we began to live the world of PTSD. I watched this strong, tough woman become subject to panic attacks, to just irrational loss of control because it takes everything away from you. And it was terrible hearing, and you think about these young people that spent hours in that stressful, traumatic situation. I'm very involved in the trauma world now, and I'm worried. I care about, we have hundreds of people that have been affected by this. And the sad thing is from 2007 to now, that it's gotten more wild and more. Our gun laws have gone down. In 2015, they took away the blue cards, which was just a very, I won't say very effective, but it was a registration that at least tracked firearms. That was taken away by the legislature and the governor in 2015. They weakened the laws so much. Us in the legislature this time, thanks to Zena Haji, did our best to start trying to bring those standards back up, and our governor chose to veto all 3 of those bills. So we're still worse off than we were in 2007, and it sucked back then. And I hope that people are going to start listening and start valuing Nevadans over firearms. These young people, they are worth more to our community than the firearms that are protected so vehemently by so many people. And please, if I can do anything to help, Emer, you're a strong man. Thank you.
Thank you all. I mean, again, it's been a very rough week, but now we're going to go and make sure that these folks are taken care of. We have a bunch of partners from all across our community that are here, that are going to be here to provide supportive resources for our students, and we're going to go enjoy some waffles and coffee now, and I think we deserve it. So, thank you all.